Greetings, talented viewers. I'm Felicity from Serene Loughborough. The courageous people of the United Kingdom know that you are always keen to seek new spiritual pursuits. May God be with you. In today's program, Love of Eternal Summer, exploring the spiritual treasures in Shakespeare's works, part 1 of 2, we invite you to explore the elevating gems embedded in William Shakespeare's literary works. Known as the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare was one of the world's greatest poets, playwrights, actors, and directors in the Renaissance era. Lauded as England's national poet, he gifted humanity with many remarkable literary treasures. The prolific wordsmith's canon, written within a mere 25 years, includes an incredible 37 plays and 154 sonnets, which, together with other poems, are still fervently admired and interpreted today. In his distinguished book, Will in the World, How Shakespeare Became Shakespeare, U.S. literary historian Stephen Greenblatt gives this incisive summary of the bard's career.
A young man from a small provincial town, a man without independent wealth, without powerful family connections, and without a university education, moves to London in the late 1580s and, in a remarkably short time, becomes the greatest playwright not of his age alone, but of all time. His works appeal to the learned and the unlettered, to urban sophisticates and provincial first-time theatergoers. He grasps with equal penetration the lives of kings and of beggars. He seems at one moment to have studied law, at another theology, at another ancient history.
So what makes Shakespeare's work so enduring? Let's embark on an exploration to unveil some answers. In one of Shakespeare's best-known sonnets, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, we discover that eternal beauty exists because of the power of love, which transcends time and space. Here, the beloved could be a person who is the object of his affection, or it could be the incandescent divine. Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. What's salient about Shakespeare's work is that he instills scenes of everyday life with profound spiritual insights. When we contemplate his lines, we find that they are richly imbued with deeper layers of meaning and discover themes that resonate with words uttered by many great spiritual masters. For instance, a poem by Master Rumi titled All Through the Night God is Calling Us conveys the same idea as the one expressed in Shakespeare's Sonnet 27. Both tell of a state of meditative sleeplessness. During the daytime, a lover is kept busy with all kinds of mundane activities, but night offers the chance to reconnect with our true self or the beloved God. From All Through the Night, God is Calling Us, poem by Rumi.
The days for earning a living, the nights for love. So the eyes of the jealous cannot spy in you. The rest of the world may sleep, but real lovers throughout the night talk inwardly with God.
Sonnet 27 by William Shakespeare. Weary with toil, I haste me to my bed, the dear repose for limbs with travel tired. But then begins a journey in my head, to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts, from far where I abide, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see, save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night makes black night beauteous and her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself no quiet find. We'll be right back after a loving message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, sincere viewers. Shakespeare's lines have the magical effect of enlightening our minds to the truth that we know in our hearts. His beautiful and imaginative expressions give us insight into human life and its ephemeral nature. On the subject of life being a dream or an illusion, we can find notable parallels between words penned by the bard and by the enlightened master Paramahansa Yogananda. Both use theatre-related metaphors to capture in words the elusive seeming of our existence. From Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda.
I know I am but a figure in God's dream movie, as you are also. Someday, when we cease to be actors on the screen of life, we shall realize that our forms are but shadows interspersing the cosmic beam of God's omnipresence.
From The Second Coming of Christ by Paramahansa Yogananda.
With inconceivable ingenuity, God is staging an entertainment for His human children, making them actors as well as audience in His planetary theatre. One's values are profoundly changed when he is finally convinced that creation is only a vast motion picture, and that not in it but beyond it lies his own reality.
From Shakespeare's play As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with a satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cap onlined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with speckles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. From The Second Coming of Christ by Paramahansa Yogananda.
Then, as it is possible to watch the slow process of a flower budding, growing and disappearing on the movie screen, so man should behold his life picture on the screen of his consciousness through the stage from childhood to a full-grown individual, and then his disappearance unto God.
From Shakespeare's play Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 5. She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. From Shakespeare's play The Tempest, Act 4, Scene 1. Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Shakespeare reminds us of our real selves by delving into the vast spectrum of inner and outer worldly obstacles humans struggle with on the way to enlightenment. More crucially, he shows us how with love, wisdom, and humility, these obstacles can be prevailed over. His words are, essentially, nourishment for the soul. In the next episode, we will explore more of the divinely inspired musings which permeate his transcendental masterpieces. Brilliant viewers, it's been a pleasure to have your company on today's Love of Eternal Summer, exploring the spiritual treasures in Shakespeare's works on Words of Wisdom. Please join us again tomorrow for part 2 of this program.